Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on tools for dulcimer players, and last week we mostly focused on a chord chart for mountain dulcimers. This week we're going to move over to hammered dulcimers. And, well, I don't play hammered dulcimer. I mean, I've dabbled for, probably half an hour total now. I got an app that has, it's called Trapezoid because of the shape of them, and it has some, enough that you can see and hear some of what's going on. But we're going to go to a certain point, and then I'm going to have to get users in to really make sense of it. All right, so let me start with just the hammer dulcimer itself. So here's somebody playing it. It's got that trapezoid shape. I always say it's like the inside of a piano, but they come in different sizes. So you can, like, this might be a 16-15, meaning 16 strings on the middle bridge here and 15 on the bass bridge. So this is the treble and this is the bass. And if we look at, here's a chord, not a chord chart, but a kind of a tuning chart. You got treble string with notes on both sides and bass string with notes on only one side. Now, there are other kinds of dulcimers. Let's see if I can find some examples. I know I saw some. There's some people confused about what's a mountain dulcimer. Okay, here's one. This one has the treble and bass, and then it's got the treble here. I'm not sure. It looks like they squeezed in one note in here, F sharp 6, just on its own little bridge, and then another bridge down here with kind of oddball notes: C, C sharp, D sharp, F, and B flat. They put a few notes on the other side. Now, I've never heard of this dulcimer, which is nothing against them. But, it's very different from the usual pictures. Let's see. This is a do your own. It looks fairly small. It's only got a few bass strings. Often you see the chord charts leaning a little like this, but you also see them vertical like this. Okay. This clearly takes a little less space. I don't know if it's easier to read or harder to read. Okay, but that's kind of the way of it. Let's see, what else we got? Well, okay, notice on this one, there's little white spots periodically. I'm not sure if there are black spots, black sections, or they're just the same piece, but let's see if I can zoom in enough to tell. Yeah, I think it's a solid piece with little white covers on it or something. But those are put in periodically so you can see where you are without being confronted with, here's 16 strings. Don't hit number 8 instead of number 9, So we need those, and they're pretty standard. Let's see. Some of the tuning charts show them. Well, this one kind of does. They're circled here to mark. So it's like A and D with D and G and G and C. So if you know your circle of fourths or fifths, that sounds promising. A to D to G to C is definitely moving by fourths, which are upside down fifths. Okay, what else we got interesting going on? Well, there are a lot of patterns in this thing. So unlike the mountain dulcimer where we identified all those chord shapes, I think we're just going to identify the tones that are in a chord. And I think, let's see if I can find, I had a good chord chart somebody had put together. Well, like this one. So here's C sharp, F sharp. I don't know what they're marking that for. But I could see marking the notes that participate in a chord. So if we say this is the key of D and the one chord, the first chord is a D chord, D, F sharp, A. And then where can you find D, F sharp, A? Well, here's a D4, here's an A4, here's an F sharp 4. So it's sort of a little triangle that makes those. Okay, up here's an F sharp, an A, and a D. So another kind of triangle that makes it. All right, now there are other kinds of um, patterns. Now, I thought there was one where you went right up the ladder. D, E, F sharp, G. Well, they kind of sound like they're in a scale, but it's not really a regular scale for some reason. Um, they're the regular notes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but they're which ones are sharps or flats is very different. So it's like G sharp to A is a half step. That's a whole step. That's a whole step, and a half step. Whole step, half step, whole step. There's a pattern, but it's not a very regular one. Well, you tend to play arpeggiated basically. So D, F sharp, A. If you kind of hammer between those three notes, and you've got a D chord playing. You do some once in a while you'll see a player that holds two hammers in one hand, like a xylophonist might or something. I've mostly seen that as kind of a gimmick for one thing. I don't know if it's normal. I just don't know enough about the players. I've seen them play, and unfortunately, when they set up a dulcimer on stage, you're kind of looking at the bottom of it, and you can't see exactly what they're doing. But a lot of it is like right and left alternations. You can play two at the same time, but you're tending to go back and forth between things a bit. Okay. So, I guess I know what I was saying now. So like a seventh chord, here's D, skip one, F sharp, skip one, A, skip one, C. D, F sharp, A, C is a D7 chord. So these tend to follow that E, G, B, D. Well, that's an E minor 7. Flat 7, I guess. But anyway, there are patterns like, hit the triangle that goes here. There's one called the state of Utah because it kind of goes top, bottom, over, and then over, up, but not as much as the first one. So Utah has that kind of, the state of Utah has a different shape, not quite square. And as you play, you run across these patterns, because you go across the fretboard by fifths or fourths, that opens up. Like if it's always a fifth from the note on the right to the note on the left, now you just have to find the third. Well, F sharp, C sharp, A, here's the third, so it goes. Yeah. So, I don't know if I play something on YouTube if you can hear it, but it's got a very, I don't know, it's a pretty sound. It's not super sharp or intense like a piano hitting it with a hammer. It's a much more gentle sound. Now there are other things that it can do. Some people have a pedal that sort of mutes the sounds or makes them sound kind of thunky, and so they can get a little bit of a groove going, and with the thunkiness going in there and shifting the sound a little bit. I thought I've heard of somebody having two pedals, but I don't know what the second pedal was. But the mute pedal, it really does completely mute them, and you can sort of put it halfway, I think, to get that thunkiness. So you can do stuff where you play notes that are supposed to be very short, not just notes that keep ringing and ringing and ringing, Let's see. What else is there to know about these things? Okay. Well, there's tubes. I didn't know that. Bass bridge tube, treble courses. They call these bridges. I think I'm going to say bridge spots for when we talk about them. And I mentioned, you might have only notes on the left or only notes on the right. So the little chromatic ones here have notes on the right. Okay. Yeah. So Masterworks, that's one I know about. Now I'll probably have to go through all the ones I know, but, so they have all the variety. Like here's a 20 plus. I don't know what that plus means, but I imagine it's 20 in the melody and 20 in the bass. And, maybe an extra note on one side or something. 16, 15, 17, 17. Those are all very common. I don't know, Songbird, Hammer Dulcimers. See, I know our advertisers in the magazine the best. They have a bunch of different sizes. Let's see, instruments. Okay, 14, 13, 6, 7. So that's one that's got all those chromatic ones on the side and everything. So I don't know, do we have a big picture? Yeah, so you can see the main treble bridge, the bass bridge, and then these two chromatic bridges kind of offset from each other. I can tell you the ones I know that are relatively standard, like 1211 and 15, 1615 are very common. I've seen a bunch of 1717s. And then you get these, I mean, they'll make you a custom whatever you want, you know. It's like you know, if you want two bass bridges and whatever, they'll put it in there for you, you know. It's up to you. Okay, dampers is the thing I was talking about. I didn't even know they had electric pickups on them, but you can get it with an electric pickup for an extra $250. Yeah, hard to tune because notice it's what you're playing is actually two strings in general. So you string across the bridge and then it goes under the other one and down. So these are only on one side. These, I think it can tune both sides, but maybe it's separate. I'm not sure if it's separate. I'm not quite sure how that's done. I'd have to really look at it close. But this is almost always two strings. There are people who make ones with one string. I think these guys have a starter dulcimer that has one string on each note. Usually there's two. I don't know if there could be three. I guess I don't know who I would even. I should talk to some of these people and find out what they do. But there's so many festivals this summer I'm going to be going to. I'll definitely be talking to them then and trying to get, you know, a little help understanding what we really need to do in total for this thing. But I think we can get a case, you know, kind of like the usual thing. I think we can get it at kind of a 90% coverage. If you have the 1211 and the 1615 and the 1717, I think you're covering most of their stuff. And even if they have some other that's a different thing, they can still play what you say, but you're not defining these other notes. Okay, now this one, look, there's three little, I don't know why that's 6, 8, 17. So they've put in just little tiny micro bridges here to get another note somehow. Yeah, so if you got, well, I'll do 1717 for easiness. If it's 17, okay, we can see the two strings. 17 on the one and 17 on the other, you've got 34 times two notes to worry about. And then I can't tell if you're tuning, like if you tune this one, does the other side get used or not used? It looks like it's not used. It looks like it's coming. Oh no, maybe not. I'm not sure. This one seems to be going, some of these are going under, so I don't think you're using this note, but maybe you are. I don't know. It may just be the photo. But, you know, there's some very good musicians who are very good on these things. It's like very awestruck to watch them. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this one, it is fully chromatic because it's got those extra frets or bridges. Most of them seem to have most of the chromatic notes. They emphasize sharp keys more than flat keys. So kind of like mountain dulcimers tend to be on sharp keys. I think that's just a general thing in the maybe bluegrass to some extent. Certainly the old time community leans that way. D, G, and A are by far the most common keys. Okay, fully chromatic, 3 octaves, more than a 4-octave range. Okay, so nice stuff. I mean, this is not outrageous prices. I've seen ones that are $6,000-$8,000 on some things. I don't know anything about them, quality or whatever. But you know, I mean, mountain dulcimers tend to run $500, kind of for the nice manufactured or handmade nice ones. You know, $200 would be very unusual. There are a couple builders out there that kind of just do like plywood, and there's even cardboard ones. For mountain dulcimer. So you can pay anything from $100 up to, or $65 up to how much you got kind of thing. A couple thousand easy. If you get the pickups and one of the builders just put out one that does MIDI and stuff. So does it tune the two sides? Yeah, I think there must be something like that going on for some of these, that you're going from the tuning pegs to the middle, and then from the middle to the other side. I don't know if they're I don't know if there's kind of like if it's a bridge, so it must kind of like deaden the note here, but I don't know if you tune this side, does it put this side out of tune? If it does, you're gonna be, you're gonna have to go through. You'll tune everything, and then you'll fine tune it to try and get them all just right. It's not a 2-minute operation. I mean, Mountain Dulcimer 3 strings, you can usually tune it pretty quick, and they're fairly stable. These things, there's a lot more pressure on the boards and stuff like that, and it's a much bigger board, so I imagine it's more prone to humidity and things like that being an issue. So I don't envy them the tuning process. I know when I first tried to learn guitar years and years ago, like the tuning just about did me in. So I don't know. All right. So we're gonna do some aspects of this. I don't know. I ran tests and it said they finished, but it's still blinking over here for some reason. Let me just kick them off again while it's doing that. So the first thing, so I'm imagining the look is going to be somewhat like what we have. So we chose the diatonic scale or the chromatic scale. These guys are going to choose the dulcimer size. It's 12/11 or 17/16 or whatever we can divine. Then for this one, because they're almost chromatic, even if the ones that aren't fully chromatic, they really can play just about any chord, like any chord, like you would say a piano can play any chord. You got almost all the notes. So you could play, if you want to play a nice jazzy something major 7th, sharp 9 or sharp 11 or something, you've got the notes there. You can bounce around between them if you can think about them fast enough, I guess. But so I think normally what happens is we want to know what key, like D and major or minor. Okay. And we're just going to do the two. Now, major, there's normally only one form of that. Minor, there are actually 3 forms. There's what they call the natural minor, which corresponds to the major key scale. So C major is all white notes on the piano. A minor corresponds, and it's all white notes on, starting from A. That's the natural minor. Then there's one called harmonic minor. So if you play an A and you get the 5th chord in major, the 5th chord, especially the 7th version, the 5/7 chord, it really strongly goes to the root of the chord, the root note of the scale. And so A7 going to D is a very strong chord progression. You really feels natural. In a minor key, E turns out to be a minor chord. So it would be E minor goes to A minor. Well, it's not very compelling. Much better, at least for some purposes, is if you do E major chord going to A minor. Well, E major has a G sharp in the middle instead of a G, but the A minor scale has no G sharps in it. So there's what they call the harmonic minor. The second of these minor tunings says, oh, let's put in the G sharp, and then you can play an A7 going to E7 going to A minor, is a very strong transition. It sounds like very complete. And so that's fine. And then if you do that, you find out that like going from F, if you go up your scale, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but you're going from F to G sharp. Well, that's like a step and a half. It's a really kind of it's not a great sounding interval for it. I mean, it sounds like a gap. And so they said, well, this really, it's okay going up. You can do it, but let's see, do I have that right? Going up, let's see. I think I think you play I think you play the sharp 6th as well as the sharp 7th note. So F sharp and G sharp going up, and then going down, you can play the natural notes. So the scale goes different notes up and down. I'm not going to worry too much about that. But we'll just say D major, D minor, and I'll throw in the option of the 5/7, the capital 5/7, the major seventh chord, and let them be. We want to think about the bridge and the strings and the markers. So I have a picture for that. I flashed it up yesterday. All right, so here are the two bridges on a 15/14, and you can see I don't show them tilted, which we could consider, but when I see other chord charts that don't, I don't feel as strongly. But you have the string, the bridge going up and down, and then I have those rectangles. The white rectangles are the markers to show me, just to kind of give me landmarks as I'm going up. And then there's a string coming through it, but I'm not going to show the whole string. And then on each side, the L and the R, the left and the right. And we got the treble bridge and the bass bridge. And the only other thing I did was, they put the 4 is the octave number, but C4 is middle C. So I circled that one. Usually there's some special marker on them or something for you. Again, just to kind of help orient you. Okay, so I'm envisioning that you'll select 15/14 and you'll get this view. I think I want to put our shapes, maybe those strings need to be a little wider going across, and put the shape between the F sharp and the bridge on that wire. So a square, circle, triangle, and so on. Now this time, you have arbitrarily big chords, so we have to worry about our seventh chord actually has 4 notes instead of 3, so we can't use the same seventh chord we used for Mountain Dulcimer. But I think some of the stuff we will be able to use, so I don't think it'll be quite as hard as that was. All right, so if we put the dulcimer type, the key, major, minor, and then this stuff, and then next phase we'll add in the shapes between the note names and the bridge, and I think that'll do most of it. And then we have to decide what are we going to show for individual chords. So I'm imagining an index on the side, but this time it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the chords based on the scale notes. So if you're in the key of C, there are 7 chords that correspond to it. There's no F sharp major or F sharp minor in the key of C because it doesn't have any black keys on the piano, and those are sharps and flats are black keys. So only certain notes will be applicable to that key and that scale. So if it's key of D and the 1 chord is a major chord, D, F sharp, A. And so I would go through and I see on the bottom right, on the treble string on the right side, the second one up is an A3. And then I can't use D sharp, but up again to the next white marker is D4 and A4. And then a couple up to the right is F sharp. So I'm highlighting that. D5 on the next marker, A4 next line up, F sharp, and then D5 up going up. I can highlight those notes going up that are in that chord. And then the person could hammer on any of those notes and it would sound good and sound like that chord. All right. So it gives us a place to go. So my proposal is let's get these 2 pickers out of the way first. And I don't know. We'll learn we'll have to define what dulcimer size means and key and all that. But I think that'll be a starting point kind of on a musical side as well as a view side. And then we'll work on the big one, which is the bridge with the strings and markers and all that stuff. Okay. Let's run this. Well, I guess we can run this as is. We don't have to. Okay, so I created this tile. I just copied everything basically. I created a tile and literally referenced the other thing. So we are using that as starting point. I'm imagining we'll use the same color scheme and then and go from there. So let's get to that. So it's something chord chart HD HD view. All right. So, well, there's no fretboard, so we know that's not going to be right. But what I'm thinking is, this picker is supposed to be the, I guess it's the layout. I'm not sure. I don't know if I can tell. Like, people don't use the. Go back to Masterworks. I mean, I want them to tell me these are available in several layouts, you know, not me come and make up a word that they don't use. Yeah. Okay, courses are where two strings go over. Yeah, well, I'll use the word layout and somebody will correct me at some point. Okay, so the layout, well, why did we do fretboard index? Because we had an array of fretboards. I think that might be us too. Let's assume this. I'm gonna call it HD layout. Okay. So layout index, and then for each, well, now we're going to need a layout. I guess the layouts and count. Okay, so let's just put, we'll just put minimal stuff in as we observe it. Okay, so I did create a folder. This is an empty file is fine, so let's call it layout. Sure. I like to write it the other way. Wow, already I'm breaking concurrency. Sure. I'll leave that like that for now. Okay, so this is layout. Whew. I got to get better at that word. Layouts.count, ID self, text of fretboard.name. Tag by index. Okay. All right. And then that implies these things have names, which we haven't put in yet. Okay. All right. Now we need a key. Well, I think this is going to have to become the key. I don't know. I have a picture in my head I didn't draw out very well, but we're going to choose the key. And this is key. KD. Okay, and let's run through. Do we have a key already? I don't know if we did that for song. No. Key simulator DPN songs. Well, okay, so we use that, like, we would just put DM on the mountain dulce on the songs. Can I be a string for now? Let's leave it for now as a string. All right. And then we took away tuning. We took away chart. We'll take that away too. Okay, so chord chart. Chord chart background. That's okay. All right. So where did I put my H stack? Oop. Tuning. Yeah, I'm kind of regretting not putting like MD or HD on these as they went. Okay, this is quality. Now this, I think we can use chord quality. Okay, so I think we'll have to treat them separately because this one, it's the Dulcimer one, root third and seventh, no fifth. We need one that has the fifth. So we're going to have to do some work, but I'm going to pull this into common. Okay. And we'll make this one be chord quality. Oh, is it chord quality? It's not really. It's really like a scale quality. I think that's the reasonable default. And I think that should be usable by the other Dulcimer if we wanted to, but we don't need it. So I'll leave it shared, even though it's potentially shared, but not actually shared. Okay. No exact matches in call to initializer. What does that mean? Specified as value. Yeah. Mostly they just specify the number of notes available. We'll figure it out. Okay, I think the problem is it doesn't like our enums. Requirement specified as value raw representative. As long as I don't have to do the work. Apparently I do. Does not conform. Add stubs. Raw value was type. Okay, wait a minute. type of int. Oh, if I do codable, it's okay. Conform to string. I guess that would be okay. I think then we have the names available. If this likes it all right. Yep, okay. Right, and then a picker for that. Well, let's see how chord quality did this. A string. Well, that description can be that. And then he needs, well, I'm going to comment these out. Selection is key, scale quality. Quality.names. Well, I should just be able to say for each. Let's make him case iterable. Okay, let's see if that's enough to start. Nope. Oh, you gotta spell that right, apparently. Okay. Oh. Okay. Oh, that's not right. And where did my layouts go? Oh, I don't have any. I had an empty list. Okay. Let's we need to get the keys. tuning. Oh. I'm going to say HD key or key HD dot names. We'll cheat for a moment here. Now I'm only going to put yeah, do that much for me. B E F. Okay. And then I got to find my sharps on here. Oh, probably a test would be easier. I guess I'm going to take these out. There's my sharp. A little weird, but sharp keys only. That's fine. It'll get us there. All right. KHD dot names. Do that. Good. All right. All right. F major or minor. Yeah, I think that's a start. Okay. Now, chord chart. Okay. So in this one, we don't want the chromatic notes. Well, this is almost implemented just by defining those things, isn't it? Okay, so I'm imagining there's a chord chart. We'll call it chord chart HD. Let's get him defined. We'll rename the other one shortly. Okay. And this is the color, so that's not specific. Okay, let's change this one though. Let's rename him. In the test. Can the different columns be tuned to different keys? Well, they're not, because they have such a range of things. Let's go back to a picture of these. I mean, they've got everything. Well, I don't. Yeah, there's a C sharp. So, um, they've just got most of the notes, regardless of whether they're used in a different key. So, I mean, you could imagine. I mean, I guess I could imagine an instrument that's got 12 columns, 12 bridges, one bridge with each scale notes on it. But that's really not what they've done, understandably. They want the flexibility, just like a pianist wants, he doesn't want to have to play 12 different pianos, run over here and play the part that modulated to F, kind of thing. I think they just have most of the notes to get around most of the scales. So let's take C. Is a little tricky. C, E, G. Do I see an F? A, B, C. So yeah, up here you got a C major, kind of not exactly a scale, but C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So yeah, you kind of have the scale like that. So start on a note, go up, 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 and across, up, up, up. Get you back to it. So you sort of from here to here, this octave has the scale notes in it in the key of G. So I'm guessing from here to here, we get a C sharp and an F sharp. And then here, F sharp. Now this one's G. That's weird. The G sharp's up here. That's probably why they put that little extra fretboard up there, because they needed a G sharp, and G sharp's down here. Oh, so A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. So yeah, you have the key of A there, down low. B, we don't have a key of B. B, C, D. You should have sharps for that. So I guess that's, yeah, not going to happen. Okay. So yeah, you have pieces of scale. So the A scale, the D scale, the G scale, and the C scale. That's a pretty good set. I mean, you don't run into, like, at least in the old time world, almost all songs are in one of those 5 keys. And it's the circle of fifths: C, G, D, A. Do we have E, F sharp, G sharp, D sharp? And we have a D sharp down low. So you can kind of get an E scale out of that too, but you got the 4 for sure. And I don't know, corresponding minors, probably A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. Okay, so it's got the sharp in the minor. You have to find a regular F somewhere. I just see one up here. So yeah, the minor is not as well tolerated. I can find like A, C, E, so an A minor chord is in there, but not the whole scale without bouncing around in a funny way. I mean, it's weird to me. I mean, you find these patterns. I mean, I never noticed the scale pattern till just now. And you can find lots of them. They're just lots of patterns around, and I think that's part of the challenge of learning this or composing for it or anything like that. You want to know what chords and keys are pretty accessible to you. But all right. So well, let's make sure I haven't broken any tests. Let's get this stuff checked in. We got the bare bones start of something we added almost last in the Mountain Dulcimer side. Good. Okay, so rename. Okay. Okay, so the chord chart HD view. Well, he should have a chord chart. But what does he need? Well, he's going to need... He needs the layout. I guess he needs the key and the layout. I think that's enough to generate the chords. The key tells you which notes are in the chord. The chord list is known by chord chart, and fretboard corresponds to layout, knowing he has frets, but we're going to put, I don't know, I'm thinking bridge spot, but I don't know. Okay. Why do I have these? Probably comets, right? Yeah. Trailing white space. Yeah, sure. Okay. All right. Now I think we're going to move from the one domain to the other, from the view domain to the domain. Okay. So chord chart, we've got to give him the key. We've got to give him the layout. What's a layout? We haven't defined that very well yet. Okay. So, I think like fretboard, well, fretboard ended up with more after we got going. He even got positions. Yeah. Frets. I mean, this definition of the array of frets, that feels like we need something like that. So let's see what fret looks like. Index. I'm going to call this half steps. You know, this has been bugging me for a while. Rename this. Oh, great. Thank you. Did you really fail? Okay. Let's try that rename again. I don't think that one would have been too hard. It didn't affect anything. All right, but we'll just make sure. So we still have the notion of half steps because it was doing like F sharp 4, G sharp 4, A 4, and so on. We have a name, and then the type is going to be different. Now, I'm kind of puzzled. All right, let's so somewhere we need to represent we have the index of the string, like what note number are you going up? What row are you going up? And then we have the chromatic half steps. I mean, it's almost more like the MIDI note. It's not really MIDI, but you know, it's got the key in the octave, so it's a specific note. Whereas in the Mountain Dulcimer, we weren't very particular about that. I think we don't need to know. Well, so fret. Go back to fret. fret knows the half steps, a name, and a type. I guess our frets, right? Where's fretboard? Yeah, he's keeping track of position. He really is both position and half steps. Okay, so there's no fixed relation. There's no necessary relationship between these two notes. I don't think. I think the convention is to tune them a fifth higher, but I don't think that's a requirement. So I think we need to know. Well, we need to know them in order going up. I mean, and a layout is going to have multiple bridges. For a given bridge, what note is on the left and what note is on the right? And there may not be one. There might be one. This shows they're really fully optional. And this shows you can have only on the right. So, in a sense, though you have the combinations both left only, right only. And I actually think of this where it shifts bridges as almost being like neither, like there's a gap in the bridge. I don't know if that's the best way to represent it, but we need to know the name of the note. We need to know, well, somebody must do %12 on our mountain dulcimer side. So I think the same thing, because we want to know, okay, your D sharp 4, that's your name, but what are you really? Well, I'm a D. Independent of my height or my octave, I have a note name, because it cycles around. Okay, and the chords don't care. They want to say any A, any D, any F sharp. Show them all. You could bounce between them if you wanted, getting a very multi-octave arpeggio or something. Okay, so what is this L? It's got a name. It's got a name. It's got a note, half steps note. It's either present or not. Okay. So that thing, I guess I'm going to call it a note. I don't know. HD note sounds better to me than note HD, but it really is more of a note. Okay. So I want to say a layout has multiple bridges. A bridge has pairs of optional notes, and the notes have half steps, name, and type. Well, no, I don't think there's a type on them. The type is half steps, name, and the pair has knowledge of whether it's the marker or not. Okay, so that's a bridge. Maybe that's the bridge spot is both those things, and then the HD note. So what question am I going to ask an HD note? I guess I want to know. Well, I want to know your real note. Okay, let's start there. Okay. So I don't know. I'm going around bottom and top and everything else, but I think filling these in and getting them together will make it easier to draw the whole thing. Okay, so chord chart. Let's call this chord chart HD. MD. And let's create chord chart HD. Okay, so all right. So I'm going to ask I'm just not sure on this naming a note HD. The suffix. Okay. All right. So my test is going to be I'm going to create. All right. Let's see what that looks like. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm really going to give it half steps. Well, half steps. Let's go. Let's see. C4 MIDI. Is that 60? Well, C3 is 60. Okay, so let's 60, and this is C3. Well, I guess I'm going to put that in the name. Never mind. C3 and does he need anything else? I guess from his perspective, he just gets that. Okay, I had sworn I had sworn middle C was 60. I'm not sure why I'm confused on that point, but I am. Okay, but well, I'll believe them. 60 is C3. Okay, so that's how many half steps, and that's the name, and then the type is not a function of this. So all I want to do is make sure that a note dot base is 0. Okay, because I want C to be 0 and on like that. Okay. I think I could inline this. And then note 71, which is B3. Back to that MIDI chart. 71 is B3. Okay. His bass should be 11. And then let's do one more. 72. C4. Bass goes back to 0. Okay, so I'm proving the wraparound. All right, and then we'll put it in here for a moment. A note HD. Whoops. Note HD is let's let half steps of int, let name of string var base of int -1. Oh, I need a constructor. Somehow I should have let it do it. Thank you. Okay. And this is going to be okay. Let's pull this out. Come on, get up there. Well, I'm glad he was diligent, but not quite what I had in mind. Okay. That's all right. And I got to make sure it really got there. It did not. I guess that's not the best way to do that one. All right. It should still pass. Okay, I don't know, a note pair. Well, there's different ways to represent the note pairs. That's the trickiness. So one way would be to say a note pair is an optional left and an optional right. And then the problem with that is if like you have to be careful about nil all the time. An alternative would be sort of this notion of making unrepresentable states unrepresentable, or illegal states unrepresentable, you could say it's L only, R only, or L and R. And I guess you'd still have the fourth case, because if there was neither, I don't know how to represent that. It kind of goes back to this chart. Like, I would kind of like to let that neither case be here and sort of an empty, well, it's really this piece that's empty, except it's between these. All right, and I don't know that there's anything it's doing other than holding the pair of notes at this point, and the marker in the state. Are you the white square one? I don't like to. I don't really think it's worth driving out tests if it's just a bag of data. So let's just define it for the moment. Note pair. Okay, now what is it? I mean, I kind of want to say this: left of note HD or right of note HD. And then I don't know. Is that enough? A bridge position having a left and right. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to define is one pair like this, D sharp 4, G sharp 3. But yeah, I think I'll let the bridge hold a list of these things and put them in order. I don't know which way will make more sense. It might make more sense from the top down, because we read top to bottom. So far with this, I have enough to say, here's the note on the left, here's whether or not it has a marker, and here's the note on the right. And that seems like a good thing to know. And then the bridge has to be all of them. So I think that's a starting point. All right, and then the bridge. What's the behavior the bridge has? I don't think it has any behavior at this point. I mean, our fretboard managed some. Let's remind ourselves what he did. I know he had the X and Y's. He has the size. I don't know that we need that. All notes. We may need something like that. Positions. Yeah, we'll see. We don't have the raise octave kind of thing for sure. Okay, so I think bridge is just as much of a data bag. Because I think for the most part we're just displaying the bridge. Now, at some point we're gonna give past values in to reference them and say, where do you want this, I guess. Oh, well, we'll start there. Bridge.swift. Okay, so a bridge. Well, he's going to have bridge pairs is an array of note pair. I don't think there's more to it than that. And then let's go to layout. Layout has a name. Yes, he has a name. All right. But I think he's got bridges. Right. So I think our goal is let's define a layout, a very minimal one, maybe just one pair for now, and one bridge, and then draw it. And if we can do that, that's a pretty good first step. Now, I don't know, you can almost do another thing I saw. Let's see, where'd this go? I get the most interesting ads. They're getting crazier. All right. I also learned this. Hide distracting items. Boop, come in and it explodes it out of your way. Like, I'm in favor of that. Get rid of the ads. Poof. Okay. I was trying to find the thing that there's. Nope, that's not it. Where you flip it into reader mode, but I don't know. That used to be a button there. All right. One thing I'm noticing is we have all these symbols and, square, triangle, diamond, and circle, filled circle. That seems like we could just put those in on next to the bridge stuff and kind of be okay. And there's even a rectangle here somewhere. Skinny white rectangle, come on. Now watch what's going to happen is these are going to be more Unicode notes that Apple doesn't support. No rectangles? Heavy vertical bar. Well, yeah, I could paint that white, but it probably needs a little border. Maybe being white would be enough. I don't know. Okay. So I guess I'm going to say it's weird because I think musically I would go from the bottom to the top. But in terms of what we want, maybe that's right. Maybe we put them in bottom to top order and reverse them to draw them. I don't know. That sounds funny. So I guess I'm going to try bottom to top. Let's get a better view. Well, yeah. So if I did bottom to top, I'm sorry, top to bottom. Let me put these in first. Okay, and let's find one that looks like ours. I had a nice one. This one's okay. It may not quite be big enough. I don't know. But, yeah. All right. So, well, we have this one. All right. Let's put D6G5. Let's build the first layout we support is... Okay, we're going to make a layout. Micro bridge. And his bridges is an array of bridge, which is an array of pairs. Which is a note HD, well, D6G5. Let's go back to that MIDI chart. D6 is 98 and G5 is 91. D6 is 98. G5. And then name, sure, has marker. That feels like a gap. I think we can make note pair. Oh, dang it. True, I think. Oh, let's find note pair. I don't think so. They follow something of a pattern, but then the pattern kind of shifts and falls apart. So that makes it pretty annoying. Right, but I'm going to make these optional. Now, why would you have a problem with this one and not that one? Oh, there we go. Okay, go back to layout. Okay, now we don't have to say has marker anymore. Okay, let's build it. So let's go look here. So this, well, okay, if I start here, E, B, A, B, C sharp, D. So this is whole, half, whole, half. No, whole, half, whole, half. Okay, so, sorry, try again. A whole from A to B, whole from C sharp, half, whole, half. This is a fifth higher. Okay, that holds most of the way up, but then we get up here, A, B, C. Like if you start on A, you kind of should expect a C sharp, but it's not a C sharp this time. As they're shifting to support the C chord, it sort of changes. Now these, G sharp, A, B, C sharp. So this is half, whole, half. Whole, half, whole, half, whole, half, whole. That's kind of a pattern. It's just one I don't quite trust. See, it kind of shifts keys with no F sharps and stuff like that. So it does that. But then if we go back to these guys, the different ones go different. Okay, well, this one just extends what we had. That's okay. I know I've seen ones that have different patterns, especially in the bass notes. What we got here? That's a small one. Yeah, F6, G sharp. Well, that's a different bridge. I mean, it kind of is similar, but I think I think to some extent you just want to say what it is. And I don't know. Like these, B, E, B flat to C sharp. That's more than a whole step. That's a step and a half. Okay, so they're not following it on this second bridge. This one, kind of, yeah, it's just kind of different. Just random stuff that was left out. I thought I had seen ones that were different, even like up towards here. Like some of them had G and some of them had G sharp, something like that. Do I have that? No, not this time. Okay, yeah. So I'm not gonna rely on it, I guess. I mean, clearly most of them are the same up there. That's good. What I really have to do, honestly, is I have to go through their 6 to 10 makers that I know of for these things, and each one will publish their chord chart or their note tuning diagram. Basically, it's just got the notes on it, and I'd have to go compare and figure out like which ones did which. But like these guys have a very idiosyncratic, it's got 3 bridges on the bass, 2 bridges and a single note bridge over here, and then this chromatic bridge. I don't know. Okay. Well, I think oh, you're not going to fix it for me. You just want to complain. Okay. All right. So I think that gives us the minimal board that actually will draw anything. And let's run that, make sure it doesn't blow up doing that. The only difference is it should put micro bridge on our list, and now we should have that. I don't know if that'll throw it off. Chart HD micro bridge, the only bridge we have. Okay. Maybe micro layout might be the better name. All right. And we should be able to walk this thing and draw it. Okay, so let's go back to chord chart HD view. Now this for each chord quality. Well, we have this one chord view thing. And he knows, well, he calls fretboard view. So we don't need the equivalent of the chord at this point. Or, well, we need the layout. And the key. I think just the layout is the only thing we're going to need. Okay, so let's do a layout view by analogy. Okay, so we'll just put one in for starters, and this needs the layout. Well, we have layout index, right? So we need layout.layouts of index. And we need a layout view. and he takes a... Sure. Well, maybe I should be putting a preview in here. Okay. Index, layout index. Okay. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back in 3 or 4 minutes and we'll focus on the layout view. And I will kick off this while we take our break. All right. See you in 3 or 4 minutes. All right, welcome back. So this thing did run, and it's just showing that same thing. Let's get it up to size. To fit. Okay. So we are going to run through a layout. Let's get that over here too. Okay, so we've got the name. We're not going to show that. That's in the top, but we need to walk through the bridges. Okay, so I'm going to be mechanical here and just define the different layers. So for each layout dot bridges ID can't quite do self. You can't do account because it doesn't like that as a static thing. Well, let's make our bridges identifiable. Okay, for each bridge, we're going to do a bridge layout of $0. Okay, now that doesn't quite, well, okay, and then this has to be I guess an H stack. We'll have to worry about spacing and everything later. All right. Must be identifiable. So let's just find bridge. Okay, that's supporting the UI a little bit. um, okay. I'll draw it eventually. Okay, and so let's split this. Well, I really want bridge over here and close this one. Something happened. I lost my keystroke monitor. Okay. I'll let it run a moment. I don't know why he's slow. Okay, but in here we're going to do for each pair. Yes, I agree. Now, I don't know if the pairs need to be identified too. They probably do if we're going to iterate over them. I really just don't know why Xcode can't get this preview hanging together right. Okay, but anyway, we're going to go down through the pairs, dot reversed, and draw them. Oh, so ridiculous. Okay. Well. He almost had it. No? Contextual type for closure lists one argument which cannot be explicitly ignored. Followed a string DPN layout view dot swift. Where are you complaining about? Line 121, line 58, line 75. Layout view takes a layout. Okay. Bridge layout takes a bridge. Sure. Oh, he edited. It's like start over. Okay. Well, I'm gonna put. I want to put these. I hope that'll still build. I want these right justified on the left ones and left justified on the right ones. And then I think I can just draw this with just draw the note, draw the line with or without this, and that. I don't know. But I think to get them all aligned right, I may have to draw the letters separately from the bridge pieces. And I'm not sure the bridge pieces will work. Oh golly. Okay. Well. How do I get my M dash? No. Um, that wasn't what I wanted. All right, so I'm just going to put. Really? Is that going to work? It's not really the look I want. What's that called in the Unicode? Oh, that's that one. 25 AF. Okay, that's a little better. Yeah, I was using Keycaster. Do you know if that's maybe I just had to update it? I meant to look at that before, but I think it broke from the update over the weekend. The Mac OS. right. That's, that's a start. I guess I want a space before and a space after. Okay. And then otherwise it's going to be some sort of vertical bar. Um, Wrong one. Okay, that line is probably a little long. I'm surprised I got the name so long too. I think he could be a lot bigger. All right, but on the other hand, that's a starting point for our drawing. Okay, so minimal start on drawing a chord chart. Okay, so let's broaden this layout a little bit. So it's the bridge, the pairs. The next one is C6, F5, and this one really should be false. Five, so that should be 2 notes lower, I think. Yeah, 12 times 8 is 96, so matches the octaves. Well, let's add the second bridge. Oh, interesting. So we want him to be a nothing, don't we? So I think he's ideally lining up here. All right, let's add that second bridge. I'm going to say this is why we want nils. And then this is supposed to be C5. If I do my math right, that's 84. And this is a nil. All right, let's see how this draws. Boom. Yeah. Okay. That's kind of what we want. All right. So if pair dot left equals nil, it's really and pair dot right equals nil. Okay. I'm just going to put a blank here for now. Then otherwise, we'll do this. And I think we have to kind of use the same logic over here. If pair dot left is nil, no, let's do it a different way. Pair dot left we'll do his name, otherwise we'll just arbitrarily say 3 spaces. This is why I think I'm gonna have to do vertical stuff too, by the way. And this pair dot, oops. Well, I don't need to do that. Crossed my mind, and then I just didn't type it that way. And this one's really kind of optional, but maybe not when we're getting everything together. All right. Well, something's wrong. I don't have a V-stack somewhere. Let's try that. Okay, so for each bridge dot pair, this whole thing should be in a V-stack. And I probably should make this a pair layout or something. Okay, that's kind of okay. We want more space. This is what I'm looking for. Yeah, I mean, lining these two up seems good. Did they... vertically, they kind of... Yeah, they're a little different. Notice this one's not as wide. I don't know if I can... Maybe I should put a font on this thing. Isn't there... monospace? Instance monospace cannot be used on type font. I know I've done this. Just parens? Is that all I needed? I think something's wrong. Maybe it's just dot monospace. Monospaced. Since never monospaced, can I? Oh, okay. I don't know if I'm going to like the monospace look of it, but it'll solve something, I think. Well, maybe it solves something and we figure it out. Well, this is not bad. I mean, they line up. They're not going to line up when it's C sharp 6, though. And really, I think I should put a divider in or some black line underneath this centered. All right. Okay, so we got half an hour to kind of address this. So I think this is going to become a V stack of right justified names, kind of like this is, and a V stack of left justified names, and a V stack of I think I think this with something underlaying it. I guess I can say dot background and put a divider in there or something. All right. So this really this is really called the pairs. It's really a course, course. Um, let's continue breaking it down. Well, no, this is the argument for the other way, isn't it? Totally. It's saying it's a V stack, yes, but it's a vertical stack of three. It's like a vertical stack. Well, each thing's got to be a vertical stack inside it. I guess I got to run 3 for each loops then, and then put those together. Okay. I think this is for one bridge, so he's going to be an H stack. Okay, so for each bridge dot pairs, for each pair, yeah, we're going to do the left stack. If the left is nil and the right is nil, well, I guess it's really just the left at this point on this one. I'm turning it kind of, iterating it kind of the opposite direction now. Okay, if pair dot left is nil, all right, then I think that covers that already. And we got the same thing for pair dot right. All right, and then in the middle, now I think we need this. And this whole thing is the monospaced one. Okay, if the pair of left and right is nil, then put a space in there, yes. Otherwise, do this. Okay, expected expression after operator, yes. Okay, and then drop this. Okay. So we got a stack of, this should be a V stack. And then he does alignment trailing. Okay. I don't know how to narrate what that is. But I'm turning it, instead of a stack of rows, I'm turning it into 3 separate stacks that will get H-stacked together. I hope. As always. And then I think the spacing leaves a bit to be desired. All right, let's put a few more rows in our layout and see if it's holding up. Okay, so, oh, D6 should be on top, and I don't think it is, right? Oh, no, it is. Oh, we're putting them in down order. Okay, that's fine. B5, E5. So that should be 95. That should be 88. A5, D5. So down from E to D is 2 half steps. Oops. And B to A is 2 half steps. These are false. G5, C5. I guess let's leave these different and make sure that still looks okay. Does not. Okay, I don't particularly care for that vertical bar there. Okay. I don't think there's one that will extend far enough to make me happy. So let's put. I have two problems. Okay, this problem is we run out of stuff if we don't keep them the same size. So he's got 2, 5, 1, 2, 3. All right, let's deal with that one first. Alignment to the H stack. Yeah, that would work. That would be better, wouldn't it? Okay, so he works. Okay, so layout. And then I think we need some horizontal padding between the two bridges. Although this is very wide if we had to fit a third bridge in. All right, but oh, it didn't do it. Okay. I don't know why. I guess I'll have to do this then. I thought your solution sounded better. What must be going on? It must... I don't know. Okay. So I'm going to put, I don't know, 50 padding on the right of the bridges. Except, I don't know. How do you get it between them? Maybe I should just put spacer. The problem is I'm going to get a spacer that's, well, at least it would divide the space in thirds. Maybe that's acceptable. H stack. No, we want H stack for each one. Okay, let's do spacer and then spacer. V stack's infinity height by default. I don't know. I mean, doing the H stack, doing the alignment the way the V stack alignment seemed to work fine, right? The center trailing and so on. Although I haven't gotten down. Okay, I should do this one first before I judge. G5. Let's go to F sharp 5, B4. B4. Okay, so that's down 1. That's down 1. And I'm always losing track of those sharp symbols. Okay, let's make sure these alignments are doing their thing. I mean, if they were infinitely tall, well, all you specify in the VStack is the horizontal alignment. You can't specify the vertical, which drives me nuts, but that's the way they've done it. It's not working. Okay. Oh, I didn't pair them. Okay, this is right justified, though, so that's a good thing. And that must be left justified then. The spacers help. I don't know if I could fit 3 columns in, but that's okay. 3, 6, one more. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if those look perfectly aligned to me, but they're tolerable. And I don't know if this is true. Really, it's not. C5, A sharp 4 gets the... Let's look on the chart. A sharp 4, 82. Oh, A sharp is B flat. 2 steps, 2 half steps. Yep. Oh, that should be true. Can I add a spacer after the pairs in the VStack? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Right, because VStack center vertically, you don't control that. I don't know, but we'll do it. Yeah, that's still, I don't know if I got a piece of paper here. I guess you can't see, but... Well, I don't know, maybe that is lined up. It just seems a little low on the right to me, but it could be eye examining the balance of stuff. Okay, let's go back to the layout view. VStack. So we're going to put... after the for each. Okay. I think HDeck defaults to center. We'll let that run finish and then decide. Oh, wait, there are 2 conventions. Middle C is C3. In that convention, middle C is C4. Okay. Interesting. Nothing like standards. Yeah, I think that should push things up a little someday. Okay, now let's run it with this. And we'll try taking out those bass string ones. Okay, well that looks the same to my eye. I can understand the leading ones, but the trailing ones... yeah, that's working now. Good call. All right, let's see if we can get the divider behind this instead of what we have. Spacer. I don't know if that's quite right. I think his divider's going to go the wrong way. Oh no. Okay. Let's take the bars out. And is there a better square? Like, I don't know if the white box might be a better looking thing. Let's try this one, 25A2. Or A1. I forget. There's a way to make dividers. I think it was one of those Majid articles. Is it just frame height? I may have to put a color on there too. I don't know. Oh, that's kind of it. Background color. There's still a gray stripe in there. Well, that didn't seem to. I changed two things. Oh, probably should be width. Okay, now we're talking. Maybe I could say dot accent. And maybe these can take an extra M dash. Yeah. Maybe a little thinner, but that's pretty good. I don't know that we'll stick with the coloring. I mean, I think our other one used different colors on the text, right? Well, we did the brown. Maybe that would be better. I'd rather have it be more similar. Chord chart dot string color. Fret color. Maybe fret color is closer in spirit. Do I take the dot off? Dot chord chart dot fret. Dot chord chart dot fret. Oh, here's color. Is that going to do it? Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to stop there. I will probably offline go ahead and add the rest of these notes in that I had defined. But I think that's a pretty good start. We'll start working on the chords and highlighting the notes and all that stuff the rest of this week. All right. Well, thanks for joining. I'm back 2 to 4:30 p.m. tomorrow and 7 to 9:30 p.m. UTC. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Thanks.